Okay, here we are inside Matrix Gold. First, if you're new to the channel, thanks for tuning in. I hope you find something useful here. I'm sure you will if you stick around to the end. There's some pretty cool stuff at the end, or you can zoom on through there. But anyway, if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much, and thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate it. And if you please leave a like and comment at the bottom, really would appreciate that as well. So video is going to be a lot about many different things, but mostly kind of finding issues with booleans and curves and why things don't do things the way they're supposed to when you want to, like booleans and it doesn't work or something. But it's more about the curves themselves. So we'll get into rebuild a little bit. We'll get into a little bit of editing and a little bit of some other tools you can find to resolve some issues. But the first thing I'd like to talk about is the one that we use probably a lot, or probably everyone knows about. But there's some different things in it that I'd like to talk about. So first, it's the extend curve. All right. So most of the time what you do, let's say I forget to turn on O snaps, all right? And you want to extend a curve. You forgot to turn on O snaps. No big deal, really. And you hit extend curve. You click the curve you want to extend. You hit enter. You click it again, and it drags it away. This is a bad example to start with. So let's abort that command. Let's go to this one, right click to bring back our curve, then you hit enter and you extend it. You forgot to turn on your snaps, no big deal. You can go past it, then you can just select those items, go to trim, and then trim away what you don't want, right? Okay, so let's get out of that and let's back up a second. So we'll go back 2 steps, Another time, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll go to do the same thing. You'll go to extend curve, you'll select the curve, you hit enter, you select the curve you want to extend, bring it out until it intersects, and click enter, right? That's fine too, and then you'll do your trimming or whatever you're going to do. But there's also another way, which is really, really quick and pretty cool. So if you go to extend curve, you select the item you want to extend to, you hit enter, and you select the curve, and it automatically shoots it over and locks it into place. You don't have to draw it out or anything like that and make sure it's snapped. It'll automatically do all that for you. And if I just go ahead and it does it to all of them, and then you can go back and do your, so if you have a lot of lines out there and you're wanting to extend it to a certain point or whatever, this is just much easier, much faster. So I'll do that one more time. I'll back out of that and then back out. So all you have to do is click on your extend curve, wait for your box. A lot of times I get ahead of my box and click on it, and then it doesn't work because it wasn't displayed first. So I'll select my curve I want to go to and hit enter, and then just click on the items that I want to extend, and it automatically takes them over. So that's really good, really useful, and I hope you can use it in your design modeling, and I hope it helps speed things up and makes things easier. Let's move on to the next one here. Okay, this next one, we kind of probably all do it on occasion. So let's just say our snaps are turned off, we forgot to turn them on, and we're drawing out our shapes and everything, and so let's draw out a shape. So we have our shape coming around, and we think our snaps are turned on. I'm doing this on purpose, of course, and I go just past, right? And we think it's totally fine, and we click on it, looks good, and we go to extrude it, right? And then we want to, let's turn on surface, and we go to cap it and hit enter, and it doesn't cap. Well, there's a problem, right? So we forgot to hit snaps. So the very easiest and quickest way to do this is and this is good for boolean, finding out why booleans don't work sometimes, is go to our edit tools down here. Well, actually, point object. All right, point object, and go to mark curve start, and then select our curve. Select curves for marking start. Hit enter, and you could even mark your end point. And sometimes you might want to do this on other thing. Oh, curve. Sorry, object. Point object. Mark end. Right, and select our curve and hit enter. Now it puts points out there that you can really quickly go in and see, oh, okay, that's where I messed up, right? But before I do this, though, let's get rid of those. A lot of times, you know, you can just go to your edit tools and hit close curve, okay? And then it will say select open curves to close, and then hit enter, and it automatically closes the curve for us. And if we extend it out, it'll extend out fine. You go to cap, CAP, hit enter, and it won't cap, right? So let's get rid of that. There's a problem, right? So what happens is that you've got a little piece here that you need to get rid of, right? So you can just select your curve, go to trim, and then get rid of those pieces, right? And then hit enter, and then it'll extrude fine, and it will cap fine. Well, it should cap fine. Yeah, there we go. Got ahead of myself. And you're good to go, right? So those tools are really actually pretty useful. I'll back out here real quick. Okay, so we have our... So again, you can just go to, if you have problems with capping something or a boolean, you can check your points that made up that design by going to point object, clicking on mark curve start, clicking on your line and hitting enter, and then you can just zoom in and find out where the issue's at. Make sure those points are closed off correctly, they're not separated. One other thing here real quick. I'm going to go ahead and take this and delete it, it's just easier. And I'm going to draw another one out there. Again, you forgot to turn on your snaps, and you get real close and you hit enter, right? You can also go to that tool in edit, close curve, select your curve, hit enter, and it automatically joins them together. Okay, let's back out of that one real quick, and let's do it again. Edit tools, close curve, but this time let's look at our command line. It has a tolerance of 0.0001, right? So let's click on that and type it to 0, and then hit enter, and then click on our curve and then hit enter. Did you see that? It'll move the endpoint to the start point. So if you click on, let's undo that one more time. Right here, okay, keep an eye on this here. We'll go to our edit tools and close curve, come down here, make sure our tolerance is 0, and we'll hit enter. Well, I gotta select my curve, I guess. Tolerance is 0, select open curve, hit enter, and it just takes it right over to that point. And now you're able to choose this curve, extrude it up, and select the surface, type in CAP, enter, and it caps fine. And you have a solid, closed, watertight surface. So that's whenever you have some problems with Boolean, there's a lot of reasons why Boolean, we'll get into that maybe another video. But this is probably the basics of making sure your Boolean will work, is making sure you have closed, watertight surfaces. Okay, so that's one there. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, we'll move on. We'll keep our shape here, but we'll delete the surface part. We just want to keep the curve. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about the rebuild command. First, we're going to talk about curves. Let's go. Why do we rebuild curves? Well, we rebuild curves to get a smoother surface, or basically a smoother surface, and or curve, smoother curve. You know, like get rid of that kink there, for instance. Maybe make it a little bit better shape or whatever. Now, first, I guess I'll just jump right in and say you're making a design made up of multiple curves on a ring or a pendant or whatever, and you want to keep that curve. You do not want to change it. You want that exact same curve, except you want it easier to one curve. You want a NURBS curve versus a poly curve, and we'll get into that a little bit here real soon. But first, let's take a look at this curve. So if we type in rebuild and hit enter, it's going to give us a dialog box, and it's going to give us 2 points with a red line. Okay, first of all, those 2 points in that red line represent the maximum deviation. So right now it's a 0.219575 maximum deviation. So wherever the maximum deviation is, you're going to get this line. So if going back to changing that curve on your ring, that's a poly line, into a NURBS curve, one curve, you know, it would be difficult to try and just rebuild it. And keep that shape. You'd have to go back and redo all those sweeps, because it'll move the surface or the curve out, and then when you go to do things, it'll give an opening in your design, right? So you have to be careful. You don't want to do a rebuild on something like that. There's another command we'll get in just a second. Let's talk about this dialog box first. Okay, so right now point count is 15. That's what, in parentheses, is what the point count is right now. The degree is 5. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You can delete the input. So the curve that is the original curve is the one that's highlighted. The new curve is the yellow curve, all right? If I had a different layer selected, I could click this box and it would change it to that layer if I wanted to keep both of them out there, so I knew which one was which. In this case, I'm just going to delete it and preserve the changes. So the start end point, wherever that is, which is in that little kink somewhere right here, would, you know, keep the tangency. Make sub D friendly. You can do that if you're going to change it to sub D, but it will change the degree sometimes different than what you need. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then span count, it's 11 now, it'll change it to 10. Maximum deviation 0.21. All right, so let's just so you can change this if you up the count. Okay, right now it's a 15.5. So let's just type in 15. Oh, I hit enter. Let's go back to my rebuild. Okay, 15.3, degree of 3, right? It's changed to a deviation of 0.01. And if you look at the point, that's the but it's still deviating. So let's change this to a 5. Okay, deviation, right? It's exact. Oh, 3. It's the exact same coordinates as what it is, but it's deviating. So what it's doing is trying to stick as close to this with the same point, but you're still getting a deviation. That goes back to what I was saying about if you have multiple curves and try to rebuild them, it's going to move no matter what, for the most part. Sometimes if you want to try and keep the exact same thing, you'll have to really put the point count up there, and still at 60 you're still getting a 0.001. So sometimes it's not a good idea to rebuild a curve or curves, multiple curves, into using the rebuild. Okay, so let's cancel out of that for a second. I want to go to that tool that'll give you the minimum point count but keep the exact shape. So right now, if I type in rebuild, we have 15 points, a degree of 3. Okay, so let's cancel out that. If you go to your edit tools and you go to fit to tolerance, right? and I select my curve and hit enter. Tolerance 0, but that's fine. Degree 3, you can change the degree, and we'll talk about the degree here in a second. And then hit enter. Right now, when I go to my curve and type in rebuild, it's changed it to a point count of 50 and a degree of 3. But the difference here is, this is if I was to rebuild it to 60, right? The difference here is that it kept everything exactly the same, with the minimum point count that you can go with to keep that exact shape of the curve. So that's very useful when you're trying to rebuild some things that have multiple, it's a polyline and you want to make it one line. You can rebuild them by using the fit command in edit, and we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that in the future. But that's why do you rebuild surfaces? To get usually fewer points so you can manipulate it easier, or to have a better surface to work with. And the more and more you dive into design, the more and more the curves and the surface that you create become a very, very important factor. So let's real quick talk about curves and those degrees real quick. So let's grab a polyline. What is poly? Poly is multiple. So I have this surface. It's made up of several different points. If I turn on my points, you can see them. I'll turn those off. But let's type in rebuild and hit enter. Okay. This point count is 7 right now, and it is a degree of 1. 1 is straight lines. Okay. When you have a degree of 1 curve, they are straight lines. Okay. So keep that in mind, because that can be useful later. So let's just cancel that real quick. Let's drag a copy. I'm going to hold down Alt and drag that out. And now I'm going to go to a poly curve. Maybe. It's slow today. I'm going to turn on my snaps, finally. I'm going to click there, click here, click there, click... Oh, not my polyline, sorry. Let's back out of that. Let's undo that. I want to go to my freeform curve. So this should be one curve, yes. Freeform curve, where's it at? Well, first, wait, before we do that, let's take this and let's type in rebuild. So you have a general shape of something that you want to connect some points to or whatever, or have certain type of shape. Let's take it up to 2. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and hit OK, and we'll delete our input. Okay, so now it kind of rounded off all this, giving us a better surface to or line to work with. So instead of flowing multiple pieces, you can just flow one line, right? So let's take this curve and hold down Alt and drag it out. So this is a degree 2 rebuild. Degree 2. All right, so we have degree 1 sharp. We have degree 2, which has edges, and we'll change. We'll delete that. We want to go to this one, and we'll type in rebuild. Nope, don't want to. Later. We'll type in rebuild. Okay, so now we have this one. We want to take it to degree 3. It has 60 points, which is way too much. So let's drop that down to, say, like 10. See what it does. It gives me a deviation of 0.31. So we have that deviation there. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and click OK so I can show you the differences here. Alright, so a polyline or a degree 1 is straight surface. If I was to take this curve, rebuild it to a degree 1 and hit OK, it would change it to straight edges, right? Which is, not real good for a lot of things, but some things it is. So if I take this, this one should be a degree 3. We'll check it. If I take this and try to explode it, all right, now it's in several pieces. So this is exactly what it says it is, a poly line, right? Not a NURBS line or NURBS curve. It's a poly curve, okay? And this one, if I take it and try to explode it, you can see it takes it in pieces as well. And degree 2, what it does is it pretty much takes the tangencies or the curvatures and tries to use them to make the line, okay? And again, not always a good thing, all right? And then here, this one is a degree 3, and if I try to explode it, it will not explode. This is a NURBS curve. These are poly curves made up of several different lines. This is a NURBS curve, and there's a big difference between them when you start doing all kind of modeling. So let's take all these. I know this is a lot to take in and difficult to understand, but very useful knowledge. So let's take this, move it over. I'm going to hold down Alt, make a copy of that one. I'm going to take this one, move it over, and then take this, hold down Alt, make a copy, and then I'll do the same thing to here. Okay. So we have, they're pretty close to the same spaced out or whatever. So we have degree 1, degree 2, degree 3. All right. So let's take these and do a loft on them real quick. Okay, and it makes that surface. Good for us. All right. And let's take this and do a loft, and it makes that surface because all those little curvatures made a very fine surface, right? Okay, degree 2. And we'll take these and do the same thing. Degree 3. By the way, Matrix recommends you do not change that from a degree 3. But you can actually go all the way to 11, and there's all kinds. But 1, 2, and 3 are basically the ones you want to think about. So let's look at these surfaces real quick. You can tell a difference between all 3 of them, right? Big time, right? This one looks pretty good for the most part, but their spacing, they're non-uniform. But this direction, the X direction looks pretty good. But the Y direction, the spacing and everything is kind of crazy. This one has, looks like a great surface, but it has a lot of faces on it, right? And then this one is nice, evenly spaced out, and everything's pretty, flows pretty good. So these are NURBS surfaces, right? It's one surface, okay? So let's turn on our points, edit points. And you can't even turn on the edit points on this one for some reason. Slick curves, I want this one. Okay, take this, turn on points. It won't even let me turn on points. I don't know why. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move over to this one. Take on. There's our point. Boatload of points, right? I mean, if you were trying to manipulate that surface, it would be pretty close to being a nightmare. So you definitely want to rebuild that surface. But let's take this one. This one's much easier to manipulate, right? The points are evenly spaced out and much easier to manipulate with the points. So that's kind of why you will rebuild curves, is to give you a much better flowing surface so that the points on the surface will be much better. You can, we'll get in that later. Rebuild surface, rebuild surface. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's why you rebuild curves, is to get a line that is much easier to work with. And when you get into more advanced modeling, and you want to start manipulating these curves in your models, that's kind of why you want to make sure your curves are nice and smooth, as well as easier to manipulate. One last thing on this, and then we'll move on to something else. So if I take a circle, and I just draw a circle out here, right, and then I turn on my curves, okay, I get something like this, right? And for the most part, that's really not too bad if you want to manipulate the curve. But a lot of times maybe it's not the direction or way that you want to manipulate the curve. So we'll back out of that real quick, get rid of those points, just rebuild the curve. And I have it on degree 1, and as you can see, it takes and puts a line in between each of those, and that could be useful at times, right? But we'll change it to a degree 3, so it's more of a circle, but we're getting a deviation, and we're going to drop those points down into 6 and hit enter. And now when I turn on my points, I have only 6 points to manipulate. So it really depends on how you want to manipulate your surface or your curve to get things to be easier to manipulate or to work with. And then you can take these 3, drag them up, right, so you can get a surface like that. And go to your surface patch on this particular one, hit OK, and there's your surface, right? Okay, so that's enough for rebuild on the curves for right now. Let's move on to the one that I think everyone's going to find very interesting. Okay, let's get a planar curve, right? And I'll just go to my top view here real quick. This one I think you'll find pretty cool. I'm going to just, well, let's see, let's make it pretty close to our mids. Let's turn on grid snaps, point, something like that, okay? And then hit perspective here, so we have a planar out there. Just so if I was to turn on my edit points, boom, you know, not much to manipulate, right? Couldn't really do a whole lot with this surface to be able to manipulate it very much. So let's back up. Oh, there we go. All right, so we want to rebuild this surface so that we have more points that we can play with, right? So let's take type in rebuild, because rebuild will work on surfaces and curves. And let's take a look at this, get a better view of it. It's hard to see. Let's put it on, there we go. Okay, so you can notice right away the red lines and the green or blue lines, whichever you want to call them, depending on what country you're from, I think. But the red lines are our U direction, which is represented here. We have 2, 2, 1, and 1. So right now it's a 1, it's a flat surface. We want to rebuild to a 3, all right? And it'll tell you it's 2 this way, 1, 2, and it's 2 this way. So we're going to keep the degree of 3, so we manipulate very easily, and we're going to up the count, but not to 15. That's quite a bit. Let's go something easy. Let's do an 8 and an 8. Take a look at it. So a little bit easier for me to kind of maybe demonstrate. Maybe we should go to. We'll do it here. Delete input, yes. Current layer, if you want to keep it on the current layer, and you know you wanted to keep both. Retrim. Retrim. If there was trimmed surface, it's automatically going to retrim that. So that circle, if I was to rebuild it, it would make it in a square, but I could click the retrim, and it would go back to a circle with the rebuild attached to it. The new surface, and it calculate maximum deviation, right? 7.2 whatever. So we're just going to take that, right, and we're going to turn on our points and take a look at them. So there they are. Okay, so we want to manipulate this surface, right? So what we're going to do, I want to show you really, you can manipulate the surface by turning on points and then taking them and dragging them up, right? Taking several of them and dragging them up, you know, so you can do manipulation with the points. And this is where you get into advanced designing, because there's a lot of times you can do really cool stuff in design with just the points and manipulate. It's sort of like sub D modeling, right? So let's back out of that. Let's first show off the if I go to edit curves and I go to edit soft, select the surface, U direction. You can change how many points that will be affected in the U direction and the V direction. Copy no or yes, whichever. Fixed edges means that it is going to lock these outside points so that they do not move. So if I was like to pick this one here or this area and try to manipulate it, these points will not move. If it's fixed edges no, if I go to manipulate, that surface will be affected with the manipulation. Direct constraints, normal, up and down, right? So you can change that to tangent or variable. We're just going to keep it at normal for right now. So I'll hit enter. Normal. Yes, okay. So select my surface, this surface, hit enter, right? And now, well, wait a minute, go back. Select surface, this one. Now you can see my dot out here. So I can go and click anywhere on this surface. It doesn't have to be at a point. It can be anywhere. So I take it and let's just go to front because it's probably much easier to see. And I can, normal's up and down, right? Normal to surface. So I can manipulate it up. And you can see with those fixed edges there, it's stuck there. That point is not going to move, but it will move my surface into some kind of a shape. And if I click over here and drag it down, you can start to do some kind of design work with the soft edit tool or move soft, right? And if you want it to affect less points or more points, you can type in, let's say 5 in the V direction and 5 in the, okay. And now when I click on it, it'll affect a much bigger surface. So if it's hard to tell, but it affects a much larger area, okay? So that's a little bit about the soft edit, but we're going to back out of this because there's something I really want to, yeah, okay, back out of that, okay. Really like to, I think you'll find really cool. And it's in the transform menu, and it is, I think, way at the end somewhere, yeah. Move UVN. Okay, as soon as you click on this dialog box will pop up. Okay, let's go to my top view so I can get a good look at everything. All right, so U direction, V direction, and normal direction, up and down. Okay, so you can select points and move them in the U direction with the sliders, the V direction with the sliders, and up and down, normal direction. The scale just is how fast. It's this here. If you pick 100 and you move one of these, it just like, whew, it's like real quick. So you want to keep it, you know, depending on what you're doing, but you want to keep it at a lower rate. I use this, I'm going to use a scale of 2 today. And you can UV mode, along tangent, along control polygon, along extensions. You can play around with those. You can also play around with the U symmetry, and V. And smoothing, we'll get to that in another video, but that actually will, if you have mixed up points, it'll actually get them to go straight. So if you have a surface that crosses over, you can kind of smooth that surface out, move those points back to where they're supposed to be by using the smooth U and V. But we'll talk about that in another video. But this is a pretty useful tool for some things. So right now, just to give you a little demonstration of what it can do. is first I'm going to select all those points, all right? And then I'm going to go back holding control and delete my endpoints, because we do not want to move those endpoints. We want to keep them solid in place. So I'm going to delete all those endpoints. And then I'm going to go down here. I should have made it bigger. And select, let's see, deselect by holding down control these here and these here. I should have made it more points. Actually, let's do that real quick. Let's go back to rebuild. Should have done 10. And we'll bump it up to 10 in the U, and we'll bump it up to 10 in the V, just for this demonstration. Just to be easier. And then we'll turn on our points. So there they are. Yeah, much better. So now, again, I'll select them all. I'll hold down Control and deselect all the outside points. We don't want to manipulate them. We want to keep them solid in place. And then I'm going to go down here, deselect the mids, and deselect the mids here. Okay. So basically we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These 9 selected in each little area, right? Now if I go to my normal and I start to drag it, I can make a little shape, right? Or if I want to go to the other direction, you can just click and let go and then re-click and drag some more, and it'll make it into a smaller surface. So, and then you can also, if you wanted to manipulate the, let's first drag them back up. Okay, and then say you want to take a certain row or whatever. Let's click off that. Let's make it a little bit better so I can, let's take these, and we want to move them in the U direction. And we want to take these over here. We're going to pick some of these here and move them in the V direction. But you can really quickly make all kind of designs or patterns that are quite interesting. And if I wanted to try and get those back in shape, I could see how they're moving. I can try and get them back into a straight line. So I selected all those there, go to my U direction, drag them more back down, and I can get them back into position very easily. So if I take all these here and go to the V direction, I think it was, go there, I can start manipulating them back into position to where they were to get the same shape. But it's just basically an easy way to, you can also use the points, of course, or well, not with the tool on. But it's just an easy way to manipulate a surface very quickly. So let's close out of that, enter, let's go to, and there you go, you have a little surface that you can take, and let's border it. Dupe border, DUP. I always type in C. DUP, dupe border, hit enter, select this, hit enter. So hide that real quick, show it again. DUP border, hit enter. This surface here, change it to yellow, hit enter. Oh, I can't see it because it's on plastic. There's my curve. So I'll change that to yellow. And then if I take this curve, I got 3 of them there. Delete, delete. And if I extrude that down by holding down Alt, oh, I don't have to. There, and then bring back that surface. maybe bring back the surface. There we go. And then I take that and this surface and join them together, right? And then take this and cap it, enter. One last command I'm going to show real quick. Okay, this one will be pretty quick. I hope it's helping, just kind of sorting out things. If you have questions with it, please drop a comment and I'll try to go more in detail. So let's take this and let's hold down shift and make it smaller. Let's get rid of that curve, don't need it anymore. What do we got here? Let's go to transform, let's put it in center and hit enter. So there we go. Okay, we got about a 2, 2.5, 2.25, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to oh, we made it smaller, so let's 1D it. Scale 1D, go to our front, select our mid there, hold down shift, and then just kind of get it back into the shape that it was, something like that, I think. And then we'll just move it up. Okay, so let's get a ring rail out there. So tools, ring rail, inside ring rail, and then we'll just keep it as 7. And let's take a look at, see how long. It's 17.34, I think, radius or diameter or something. But we're going to type in length in the command line, and we'll click on the length, and it'll give me the flattened length of the curve very easily. So length is 54.482 millimeters is the length of that curve. All right. So I'm going to go to my curves and get to line curve, and I'm just going to click out here, and then I'm going to type in 54.482, and I'm going to draw it out, hold down shift, and click enter. All right, so there's the length, the same length as this inside ring rail. All right, and now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, going to duplicate it from the midpoint right here, and go over to this midpoint and click there, and just leave it there. And this one I'm going to go ahead and hide for right now. Okay, so I have that on my line, right, and it is on the bottom. Okay, now I want to place this all the way down the line. So the tool we do that for is transform and array linear. Okay, and select objects to array, this object, hit enter. Number of items, right, it's kind of difficult to tell, but let's go ahead and just take 50 and hit enter. And let's array them from this mid on this side to the mid on this side and hit enter. Okay, so there's, and it goes way past my array, right? So I'm going to take this one and delete it and delete that one, and then just select all those and delete them, because there's my line. It's just almost right there. So we want to get those aligned to that curve. So I'm going to select my green, go ahead and group those together so they're just easier to select, right? And then I'm going to go to transform, scale 1D. What do I want to select? Objects, my green, hit enter, and then from the endpoint here to the endpoint of my objects, and then drag it till it snaps to the end of my line. So now I know that they end and start at the same, so it should end and start on the same of my ring rail. So real quick, first of all, I already know that it's going to place it upside down more than likely, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to my right view, and then I'm going to flip these 180 and hit enter, and then I'm going to drag them down a little bit, maybe. Get rid of all this stuff here for some reason. Drag them down. Oh, snaps are on, so grid snaps are on, so turn off those, make it more smoother, somewhere around there, I guess. And find my line, make sure it's still in there. Okay, there's my line. So I want to take these objects and drag them to the other side of my line, which should be on my planer, so right there. Okay, so they're upside down. I just know usually when you lay them out, it does it upside down, but you can just flip the objects or flip the line or whatever, but they'll lay out properly. So where's my line? Okay. All right, so now I want to, you can do smart flow, right? But you can also do just flow, which is here. In your transform menu. If I click on flow, it'll tell me select objects to flow around a curve. So those are my objects. I'm going to hit enter. Now I need to select my base point, which is my curve, toward the end. Select it and click on where I want it to apply the items to this curve here. And there you go. It just slaps them up there. And now we have you can put a rail on that, rail on both sides, and you have a little band with some bumps in it. But there's all kind of things you can do. Those are just real quick, some little tips and hints and on different things, but we'll get more involved in each one as we progress forward. So hope this video gave you a little better insight on some things, and if it did, please hit that subscribe button, like, and leave a comment. Good designing, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.